Namaste, beautiful yogis. Recently, 3 or 4 people in this week send me questions about my spiritual videos, and I feel like I don't ever dedicate time for that. Maybe I don't want to, because ultimately none of us knows, and expressing opinions has to come with a disclaimer that we don't know, and that opinion can change depending on the life circumstances, situation, state of mind, etc. So opinions are just that, opinions. It's really noisy. But I wanted to make a quick video on guilt. One of you beautiful yogis asked about guilt, and it's a really good question. Guilt about having to be more, do more, or achieve more, or strive more, or guilt towards other people, that you're not fulfilling something, that you've abandoned them, etc. So I wanted to talk briefly about guilt. I think there is 2 sides to the story. One is that we are preconditioned to programmed from society, in childhood, before we are conscious and aware. We can create certain associations with things depending on how our parents spoke to us, or adults, or other people, and that can create a unconscious response to situations that is already programmed and habitual. So that type of guilt, obviously something that we can reprogram ourselves, work to become aware of, and relieve ourselves of through forgiveness, being present, cultivating a sense of peacefulness, and everything is okay and in the right place and in the right order, and we are just living in a divine realm, experiencing a moment. The other guilt is a really, really practical feeling that can help us strive for more, achieve more, be more. Because when we come here on earth, our achievements don't matter. If you're gonna win an Academy Award or be a famous songwriter or something, those things really don't matter. What matters is what you're learning in the process of doing that. So me teaching classes doesn't matter. None of us is going to change the world in a way that the world wouldn't change without us. But why we are here is to better our soul. So the moment that we are ready to go, we die, we have something to take with us, valuable, that we didn't come with, that we acquired something new, and that was our learning experience, our growth. And that's basically, I think sometimes guilt is that, pushing us to do that, to learn more, to not stagnate, to not give up on ourselves, to not abandon our own selves. And sometimes it can have a opposite effect if we don't know how to work with emotion and deal with it. I've certainly dealt with guilt all my life, so I'm very familiar with the feeling. I think a small portion of it was preconditioning and programming, and a big portion is me knowing that there is more that I need to be doing, maybe more meditation, maybe, and it's not that feeling that you're not in a perfect place. No, it's certainly something that tells you that this time here is precious, and we have to utilize it, because we have not come here to rest. Most of us, our human life is not a time for rest, unless you have it real good. You're real beautiful, real rich, real emotionally balanced, loved by everyone, have deep soulmateship, etc. Then maybe it's a rest life. But that is very rare. For most of us, we do have work to do, and that work involves bettering our soul, allowing our soul to grow, learning, so that when we die, we take that with us. Because the thing is, whatever you believe about death and afterlife, is my belief is to just, without going into the specifics of it, I feel that if your emotional state is, say, one of envy and internal turmoil, bitterness, and just being a nasty person and only getting relief when you, say, revenge someone, then when you die, you're not going to have the relief of the physical revenge. So you're going to have the multiplied emotion of that negativity. That's going to be all you, because there's going to be no physical body to relieve yourself with. You can take drugs, have sex, eat amazing food, all you are is the other bodies out besides the physical, maybe astral, maybe not even the astral, maybe just the ethereal and the thinner and thinner bodies. So our point is to acquire a peaceful place within ourselves, but also to always grow. So that it's such a thin line, because there is that feeling of always needing to be more, and I'm not talking about that. I'm talking, I think I kind of expressed it, but I hope it came across as what I meant to say. So that is my contemplation about guilt. I feel that it can have a very, very useful application. The whole idea that there is bad and good feelings, bad and good emotions, I think it's wrong. It comes from that misunderstood spirituality that is very prevalent now. You're only supposed to be positive, and if you experience anger, you should just release it into the earth. I don't believe in that. I believe that there is a time and place for everything, and polarities are very important, an important part of growth and evolution. And if you deny yourself the quote-unquote negative emotions, then you're missing out on growth and bettering yourself and deepening your soul's wisdom. So that is it. Let me know. Feel free to write along something in the comments below if you feel so, because I think everybody here is quite wise and has something to offer. But I, for myself, know that some of my guilt is obviously it's just a response to childhood and habitual thinking, which I have less of that as an adult. As a young woman, I had more of that. Now it's more of, if I feel unease about something, I know it's because it's pushing me to take action. So sometimes it makes you uncomfortable enough so that you know that you have to do something about it, or take action, or do something about it. So I think sometimes we have to listen to the guilt and be loving towards it, and that's the way to get out of feeling bad and feeling good. And another thing is that even if we don't achieve what we came here to achieve, that's okay. There is endless opportunities, so it's not a massively unfixable deal. It's fixable, but it's almost like getting a good job and wanting to excel at it on a day-to-day basis, but if you skip a day, it's okay. So it's okay if you're not everything that you came here to be. I'm super sweaty because I just finished a really hard workout, but that is my contemplation. Sometimes it really depends on the situation. Sometimes it's really religious guilt, childhood guilt, just being conditioned by people that weren't very conscious themselves and instill guilt in you as a child. So now you operate from that mode of consciousness, where you attach a negative, in this case, emotion to everything, and just you're not driven from your highest truth, but you're driven from habitual negative responses to events. So that is one type of guilt, and the other is, so those are the two types of guilt, and I think they feel different. One feels a little dirty and the other feels a little uneasy. But let me know what you think. I think that's a good discussion to have, because I feel that most of us are very familiar with guilt, no matter how much spiritual work we do. We'll always face emotions, we'll always face darkness. A lot of us would face, I know I do, sometimes the feeling that nothing matters, which in many ways it is true, because most things don't matter. Besides soul growth, the rest doesn't matter. So what we do it in order to advance our soul, not in order to achieve the thing we're doing. The process of doing it advances our soul, not the product of doing it, if that makes sense. So so that's what I wanted to say. We all face negative, dark moments, and that is quite all right. It's kind of, think of it as day and night. You have to go through both. If the fire wouldn't be this beautiful if it was bright light outside. So we need both. They're literally, for example, certain emotions in astrology, I view them as the same emotion on the opposite end of the spectrum, on the same axis. Even signs are like this, Scorpio versus Taurus. They are, even though they're opposites, they're actually the same quality, because they're on the same axis, so they're polarities of the same quality. So they're very much similar, then they're different, even though they're opposites, if that makes sense. So we need everything, and I think befriending negative emotions is a good step towards resolving it. I'm not here to offer solutions, I'm here to offer a discussion, but I think solutions come from within, and from just questioning, mindfulness, asking, and unlearning and all of that. All right, I think that's it. I'll go ahead and post this. Namaste.